I Sorry, I've never done this, so I'm just waiting.
I think it's showing we're live on my end.
It says live on your end?
See up top.
Oh,
Live on custom live streaming service.
okay, I don't see anybody, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
My end went black. Okay. All right, now I do see everything now. Are you all still there?
Yes.
Okay, I just don't see anybody. I can hear you, but I don't see you.
Oh, that's weird.
Now I don't hear anybody.
Yeah, no, we're all still here, Giselle. I can see you.
You can see me?
Hear you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can
I
also
can
see
hear
you and hear you.
Okay. Well, that's good. I don't see any of you, so we'll just go with this and I don't know where it went to. Oh, there we are. I found us. Sorry, I apologize. I'm new at this as well. Okay. First of all, I'd like to say welcome to Emily Hamilton. Emily Hamilton has taken the the principal position at the Sacred Heart School. So she will be our new representative on our advisory board. That I think everybody else is, maybe we'll do a quick roundtable. I'm not sure if Emily knows everybody or not. So we'll start with April. I think you know April.
Hi, my name is April. I'm a social worker at Minnow Yowan.
All right, thank you. Joe?
I'm Joe Cassidy. I'm the council representative on the Daycare Advisory Committee.
Keith?
And I'm Keith Lawrence, and I work at Wendigo First Nation Council.
Thank you. And Emily, a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm the principal at Sacred Heart. I've been working at Sacred Heart for about 9 years and Sioux Lookout for about that time, and looking forward to hearing about what this is all about.
Perfect. Thank you. Did everybody receive the agenda?
Yes.
All right. Any additions to the agenda? Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll start quickly with our old business. Basically, our always old business is staffing. We are currently looking for an early childhood educator. We've had one resignation over the course of the last month. She is moving back to Toronto. So we are working with HR right now to start advertising for a registered early childhood educator. So we will have a vacant position. She's leaving us April 17th, I believe is her, or April 29th. Sorry, I've got my dates mixed up. It's the end of April. So we've got her for a few more weeks, which is she's given us lots of notice. Not lots because it's hard to attract ECEs to Sioux Lookout, but we'll see what we can come up with. We currently still have a vacancy in our for our classroom assistant. We haven't been able to attract anybody to that position. It's a 6-hour position. It is a term position due to a maternity leave. That position, the person will be coming back in August. So at that point, we'll see if we need anybody up till then, or if we'll be able to manage. We are managing so far without. We just fill in internally. We haven't increased our enrollment, so that helps us to manage the staffing levels. If we decide to increase enrollment, it would be very challenging to cover any sick or vacation time. We don't have supply staff or casual staff to fill in. We have attracted one supply staff from Dryden who comes in if we need her, but we haven't been able to attract anybody from Sioux to this point. So a big challenge. Any questions or comments?
Giselle, did enrollment change because of COVID? Is that what I'm understanding, or?
So when we came back in July, yes, we were kept to half capacity, less than half capacity. And by September, we were allowed to go back to full capacity. We still haven't gone to full capacity because of staffing. So if I have one staff member out in a program that has 16 children, I need to have two staff members in there. If one staff is out, I have to say no to 8 children and say, sorry, I can't have more than 8 children in the program today. So I haven't gone beyond those minimum numbers at this point. It's just very scary to think about filling in when we have 6 staff. And it happens all the time. You know, I might have a schedule of staffing that's out and be able to cover internally. But if I increase numbers in all the rooms to maximum numbers, I will be closing programs almost on a weekly basis just to be able to manage it. So it's better to provide programming consistently to the families that we have right now than it would be to constantly be closing down a program for families.
Right.
And every day is a staffing issue. Every day there's at least 2 or 3 staff that are out for a variety of reasons. And right now with the new regulations that have come into place, we've already lost, not lost, but there have been, every day we've had 1 or 2 staff out because of either it's their child or it's themselves that are being sent home because of one of the symptoms of COVID that they have. So the challenge is real, and it's thinking about increasing enrollment is very, very scary.
Mm-hmm.
What's an ideal number for a
Well,
while?
the ideal number, the capacity for each room for our preschool rooms is 16. If we have 16 children, if we have even anything over 8, means that you have to have 2 staff members in that program at all times. So if you put more than 8 children in there, that is a stress. It's a stress because you have to be able to cover 2 staff at all times.
Yeah, sorry, I meant ideal number of staff.
Oh, ideal.
Yeah.
The thing of it is we have, except for the 1 resignation and the 1 maternity leave, we're almost at max capacity for staffing. So we could increase numbers to 100% capacity, but that's when you run the risk of having staff that are going to be away, whether it's vacation or sick. And when you do that, then you have to close the program down because I don't have casual staff to call in to cover the staff that are in. It's a little bit confusing. So if you have 16 children in your program, you need to have 2 full-time teachers in that room. If one of those teachers goes away due to illness or vacation, I have to cover that person. You have to cover the ratio. And so if that teacher is missing and I don't have a body to put in there, that leaves 16 children in the program that I will have to call the parents and say, I don't have enough staff. They have to go home today. So I can't do that to families. That's just not fair. So if I can manage it with 8 children in the program, and then if one staff calls in, I still have that other staff member that's covering the numbers in that room. And then I can cover breaks. My resource teachers are covering breaks. And if we have to move bodies around from another room, then we can do that as well. Any other questions?
constant struggle, Giselle.
It is a constant struggle, and I feel bad for families. We do have a wait list. There is definitely a waiting list, and we've had calls saying, "Are you opening up more space? When can you open more space?" I can't right now. If I do, I run the risk of closing programs on a regular daily basis. So we're trying to attract casual staff. We're hopeful that some of the summer students that we've had in the past will come back to us and work. We've already spoken to one of our summer students that we used 2 years ago. She's going to come back and work for us. We have talked to another summer casual that we have. She was only available 2 days a week due to her schooling. She's interested in working full-time. We can't guarantee full-time work, but we can guarantee casual. And knowing that summer and spring are coming, we know that vacation time is also coming for a number of staff members. So we're hopeful to find, it's a vicious circle, because if we look at increasing numbers in the summertime, we're in the same boat. We have to make sure that we can cover everybody's holidays. So it is a constant struggle. Yeah.
You got to cover through till after the summer too. And
that's
then
right.
You might lose those people as well. So then if you have a program up to 16,
that's right.
Back at square one.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so that's my staffing update. It's continually the same, and we are advertising. So maybe with any luck, we are doing an orientation tomorrow with a casual staff. Hopefully it's successful, and we'll go from there. Okay, the other item on our old business is our work plan, or the daycare advisory work plan. It was officially adopted by council on February 17th. And I think I sent you a copy of the work plan. I had submitted it to advisory board members to review, I believe in January, maybe it was, to ask if anybody had anything to add. We are in March. Normally we would be reviewing terms of reference. Brian has asked me not to do that at this point, but to just point out that they're in the process of looking at the terms of reference for the daycare committee. Well, I don't know if it's in general for everything. What I can say about that is that he just asked me to comment on the change in officials, so that we are changing, when a principal changes position, that we don't have to go back to the school principal and say, okay, you need to resign and you need to apply to be on. We're just going to change the terminology, saying principal, as opposed to having a name that is attached to that position. So we've done, that's going to be a change on the terms of reference. And right now our terms of reference speaks to the amount of members on our committee, and our committee is slowly dissolving. But Brian is advertising, I believe. April, you said you saw advertisements, so that's a good thing. With any luck, we can attract some community members to our advisory board so that we can formulate a bigger committee to work. A letter will go out to parents in the next couple of weeks, just to see if anybody on the as a parent would like to apply. We will be having another resignation off the advisory board. One of our members is moving out of the community, so it will shrink the committee a little bit more. So those are the items on the terms of reference that are changing for us. So there will be some wording changes for the terms of reference, but otherwise there shouldn't be anything. There isn't anything that's changing as far as I know. One of the items on our work plan for this month is our licensing at Sioux Mountain, which is actually down the list, but we can just add it into while we're working off the work plan. Sioux Mountain had a very successful licensing visit. Ministry of Education came in and visited and licensed. They were very pleased with the program, with the staffing. They were pleased with the environment and saw how COVID was being managed within the daycare. Sioux Mountain had a clear license, which means they had no non-compliances. So that was very good. Any comments? Okay, all right. Okay, new business. We're kind of talking about, we are talking about terms of reference. I think I got confused with my work plan and threw in terms of reference in there. I am sorry. But we've kind of gone through the terms of reference. Any comments or suggestions that can attract more people? It's hard. It's hard. Advertising, Facebook, and April, you saw through Facebook?
I did, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll see if we can have, we had asked parents, I believe it was November, maybe, we sent a letter home to parents, but there wasn't any interest at that time. It's 3 months later. So there might be, you know, we can do that avenue again and send something out to parents again and see if there's interest.
Good. When you ask for the interest, Giselle, do you put like the rough time commitments on there for?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all in there.
Yeah. And it's not a big, I mean, the commitment is less than what it ever was. It used to be once a month and now we're down to once every couple months and not in the summer. So yeah, we do indicate the time commitment on there. So we will continue to leave that with Brian as far as attracting community members, but we'll look internal to our family members here. Budget 2021. A copy was provided. Sorry.
Just one question. If I did run into someone that wanted to or was interested, is there someone who can direct them to get the application?
Yeah, they can just send a letter or an email. They can email me, they can email Kathy,
Okay.
submit their interest, and then we can follow up with the clerk's department and they will have paperwork available for them to apply for. Okay. All right. A copy of budget 2021 was included. I'm not sure if you have your copy or not. You'll notice on the budget, if I can find mine, there it is, sorry, that basically the biggest variance as far as the childcare budget is concerned is basically the lack of revenue for the year 2020. So we're basing revenue on current enrollment numbers. Hopefully through the course of the year, we can increase our capacity and increase our administration reg fees. Right now, we're basing it only on what 2020 offered us, and that was basically half the registration fees. So we do have a rather large deficit this year. With any luck, it will change over the course of time. We did decrease some supply lines just because we don't have as many children to feed. We don't have as many children to provide supplies for. So we were able to decrease some of our lines, but those small decreases don't really add up to a whole lot when you're looking at the cost. Any questions? Okay, so we've talked about licensing at Sioux Mountain already. So our biggest, I guess the biggest item on our agenda is the Bedauben playground. Now we haven't, I believe at our last meeting, we had talked about formulating a committee or a side committee to talk about the playground. It's just been super busy and I haven't had a chance to meet with anyone or talk to anybody about the playground. There is still a couple months before the thaw. I had a conversation with staff earlier last week, and we talked about the playground and to see if there's what type of playground that they would like to see. And they continue to say they want a natural playground. So I'm thinking we're just looking at as natural as possible. And I don't know if the committee would like to be part of the planning committee for this, or if you want to leave it in my hands and I just move forward with it. I'm not sure if you have any comments for me in regards to the playground.
Are there any staff members that are interested in like starting a committee or getting together to talk about what they'd like? Like,
I've had staff say they're interested in, they're hopeful of getting a new playground. Nobody has said to me that they'd like to spearhead a committee or be on the committee. It's certainly something I can ask of them.
and sorry, Giselle, I forget how much money was the grant for the playground?
50,000.
Okay.
So it's a, you know, it's not a lot of money when 50,000 doesn't get you a whole lot.
But it's not a very big space either, right? So
no, and if they're going natural, I think we can work with that. We had initially thought that we'd like to get a new fence and, you know, make a wooden fence around the area, divide the area with a wooden fence, but just the idea, we've talked to a contractor about a wooden fence and he said, don't go that way. It's going to be too much maintenance. It's going to be very costly. You'll spend half your money on a fence and you won't get any equipment, or you won't have a development of a playground outside. So now we're thinking, okay, well, we don't need a fence. We do need a division or partition in the middle of the two playgrounds, but we don't need to go and redo the fence. So now we're just going to focus strictly on the playground.
and when you say division, do you mean between like the school and Badabin, or do you mean within Badabin's playground, the division?
Within, so if you walk by Badabin's playground, you'll notice that there's a snow fence that separates the two playgrounds. The snow fence separates the toddlers from the preschool so that they're not playing on the same, you can't have them on the same playground.
Thank you.
So with this, the allotment of this money, what's your rules around this for procurement? Are they the standard rules through the town? Like, do you have to put out an RFB for this and send it to some, or do you have to get some quotes, or is it just, you can just go for it?
From my understanding, because we have to go through the Ministry of Education to be able to have anything put into the playground, my understanding is that the money is there and that we can just basically start with it and go, you know, running from the ground. I would have to ask Brian for confirmation of that, or somebody within the municipality to find out if I have to put it out there. It's a good question. And it might be a way of attracting a contractor to come in and do that for us.
And I even if we pick that company that we kind of talked about, I couldn't find that email again with the actual company. It was Natural Playgrounds, I believe. It's
right.
Just the name of it, right?
Yes.
And it looks like they do design. So if that's the case, then if we can potentially just sole source this based on what we want, it's in Ontario. I don't think you're going to find something much closer. It looks like they do some of that design maybe as part of it. I think it would just be, yeah, like you say, getting a contractor, someone on board to help with the placing and do
right.
the work once we get it. But
okay,
maybe that's something we could do, is if we can do that, then we could maybe at least reach out and get a design. I know you sent that stuff about what the staff want or what their ideas were, and I think that was something good. And if we can go ahead with a vendor, then we can send that to them, get them thinking overhead of the space, and maybe get some ideas together. And then if we get a committee together, we can, or a small.
Okay, I can certainly look into that. It's a good idea because it might be the easiest way to go about getting started with the program.
Because I had some ideas about maybe reaching out and trying to get some design or someone to help the design, but if the company we're going to get it from does that, then that would be much better because they know what structures they'll have, the sizing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
Giselle, do you have time to take this on right now, or did you think that maybe starting a committee would be easier?
Honestly, it's been on my plate for a year and I just don't find the time in my day to add that in. It's a challenge to get everything done in a day. And the playground just gets pushed aside. So it is hard to get the ball rolling for this. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I think though, I like the idea of putting it out there for contractors. I think that's a great idea, Joe. And I'll meet with Brian or somebody at the town, maybe Jody, and they can help me set this up, and we could go from there and see what comes of it. There may be local people that are interested in bidding on such a project. And the thing of it is, I think, well, I don't know about costs, but designing is a very expensive part of setting up a playground. So we'll see where it goes from there. It could cost the entire 50,000 just to do that part of it.
Yeah, that was my kind of worry too. And it kind of depend on the company, I guess, if your fee for the structure, somewhat of a design's included and all that, if everything's coming from them.
Okay, well, that's a good idea, though. I will do that. I'll talk to Brian. I've noted it here.
Okay, and let me know if that something comes up, like I'd be willing to maybe step up a little more and help you out if you need it, or do some of that reach out. If I can, if you can't find the time, I'll try and find some and try.
I'd be willing to help as well, Giselle. If you want to start a committee, or if there's anything that you want the current committee members to do, I'd definitely be willing to help. Okay.
All right, I will do that.
I'm going to just speak up. There's lots of hands on deck here, but if there's any grunt work you guys want me to do, I'm fine with that too. For design, do you have to have a qualified designer to do it? I didn't know. I know a couple guys that like to just draw and whatnot, and they might be willing to volunteer their time. But
you know what? It doesn't have to be a qualified designer. What we need is somebody that can design the space and be able to follow the regulations, the standard. And then after that, it has to, once it's designed, as long as all the measurements are in place and it follows the Canada safety, then I can present that to Ministry of Education, and they make the final decision. They have qualified people to make sure everything's measured up properly. And so to answer your question, no, we don't need a qualified engineer to do our design. And I've designed many playgrounds. I draw pictures and I make it all look nice in my mind, but I'm not very good at drawing these out. So, okay. All right. Okay, that's all I had on the agenda. Is there anything that the committee members would like to talk about or bring up, or?
Sorry, Giselle, so you said that Sioux Mountain had their inspection for licensing. When is Bedobbins?
We don't have our inspection until October, somewhere between October and December.
Wasn't the last one, when was our last meeting?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It was, I can tell you.
We didn't have quorum the last week.
It was November, but we didn't have quorum, so we just sort of, yeah, it was November.
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering because I think the last time you guys had the Bedobbin inspected, it was a signage issue, I think, that we had a problem with.
Yes, yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was very minute, and I was frustrated with it.
Yeah. Random. It's okay.
Okay. If that's all we have, then that's all I have as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Giselle.
Thanks,
Okay.
Giselle. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.